Yes. Okay. Wait a minute. I still need to get the notes. Okay. Thank you very much for coming to today's Sanskrit class. So today is the 11th Sanskrit class. We have already done quite a lot. And as I explained today, earlier, that we're going to talk about the Sanskrit perfect. As Mr. John has already explained a lot in his, as Mr. John, has already explained a lot in his Sanskrit class. We're going to talk about the linguistic background of Sanskrit perfect. So we're going to talk about some grammar, the point. We're going to talk about Sanskrit perfect, and then we're going to read some. We'll continue reading Rig Veda, but this time we're going to check the Russian translation, which I have prepared for a long time, but haven't got the chance to explain. So today we are going to check the Russian translation. Okay, finally, I actually already prepared quite a long time ago, about 2 months or 3 months ago, probably 2 or 3 months ago, yeah. Okay, so before we talk about perfect today, and you already notice this picture, where you probably would think that, well, probably I do not have new images, so I always use this Luwian inscription or Luwian pictures as backgrounds. Well, actually, we are going to talk about, this is also related to our lecture today, and I will explain why. And I also explain that we are going to talk about a new terminology, a new phonological terminology. Yeah. Okay, so probably we can start from something very concrete. Wait a minute. Okay. Yes. So we can start with something very concrete. So can anyone tell me about the, in Chinese it's called 天王, right? 四大天王, right? So if I translate literally into English, it's like 4 great heaven kings, right? Yeah, that's a pretty direct translation. And can anyone tell me what is the Sanskrit name? Not the name, but the Sanskrit term, Sanskrit word for heaven. I think it's actually heavenly king, right? I should use so what is so question one? What is the Sanskrit name of heavenly king? Of this 4 great heavenly king? Yeah. Vidyaraja. Okay. Okay, Chatu Maharaja. What if we check the? Well, great. I've seen not correct, but I have seen the word which I hope to which I wish to see. Yeah, it is actually Loka. And Loka, of course, you know, I think I don't need to explain, right? So Loka, so they are called Lokapada, and Loka is word. And if you check the Sanskrit dictionary, this is a digital dictionary of Buddhism, and this is a very popular terminology, a very popular, how do you say that, name, figures, very popular figures in the Sanskrit, also the not only Buddhist texts. So they are called the four guardian gods, and in Chinese it's called 四天王, right? And then they are also called 护世四天王, right? And then we have the names, but this is not what we are going to talk about today. But you can check the names. Like the first one is called Drita Rashtra. The second one is called Virudaka. The third is called Virupaksha. The fourth is called Vaishravana. Okay, and what is related, what is relevant for us is this word. We're going to talk about this word, para. So para, you probably all know if we check the, let's check the Sanskrit dictionary. It's pretty easy, right? Yeah, para, and you already know the name. Yeah, so para means a guard or a protector, right? So this is para. Oh, sorry. So this is a para, protector. And if we check the etymological dictionary of Meyerhofer, so I put it here. We can, wait a minute. So it's pretty easy. You can also check yourself. I just want to show you. You find, do I need to make it bigger? No, all right. So you find the word para here. It means Hüter, protector, right? Here, shooter. And this para, there's a verb called pāray, like anu pārayanti, means kind of protect, right? Protect someone. And you have in Pali this word, right? Called pālay, means protect. And also, yeah, right. And then check here, the etymology. So the word pāray, pārayanti, is actually the L form of pāray. I write it here. So for this word, pāray, we actually have a verb called pāray, so which means protect, right? Protect. And this is a L form, a L variant of pāray. As I have explained earlier, if we have, so from Proto-Indo-European to Indo-Iranian, the R and the L all turn to R. So this is a very, how to say that? This is very important sound change. You have to keep in mind that Indo-Iranian do not differentiate und L. I mean, just like probably in Japanese and also in Korean, there's only a single consonant, while the Japanese would transliterate as a but the Korean would translate as a L. But it's basically, I think it's basically the same. So it is combined to a single one. And this is why this pāray from protector is an L variant of the pāray, because this L is kind of inner Sanskrit development. So it's not a real L, kind of secondary L, some kind of secondary L, right? Probably influenced by Dravidian or other languages. Yeah, could be. Yeah. Ah, really? Great. We have a student from Korea. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, as I explained, in Korean, there's actually no difference between and and L, right? Just like in Indo-Iranian, it's they become the same. They become the same thing. Yeah, L and Yeah. Okay, so then we know that the protector comes from this root, pāray. And this pāray, if we check it, you already find the information here. It's called hinüberbringen. And let's check the Sanskrit dictionary if you are uncomfortable with, if you are not comfortable with German. Well, sorry, I think I need to check this one. Yeah. So this is a word we need. So this is a verb. It means to bring over or to bring out, deliver from, right? And check it, rescue, save, protect. So you bring someone over something, right? And then you can save it. So this is the basic meaning of Sanskrit part. So I hope you understand why I write this, not like in Molly Williams. So Molly Williams writes 0 grade, but I usually use full grade. 0 grade can sometimes be misleading, but full grade is probably better. Yeah, as also adopted in the etymological dictionary by Meyerhofer. Yeah, okay, par. Yeah. So we know that the meaning for par is to bring over to something or bring out of, right? Bring out of, deliver from, rescue, save, protect. Okay, this is very important. We have to keep it in mind. And then let's move to this one. I hope you already know who this figure is. We already talked about this figure twice, right? And this is a god. This is how to say that, the most important god in the Luwian pantheon, in the Luwian theogony. And this god is called Tarhuns, and from the root, from this root, right? And this root, P-I-E, terh, means to go over, conquer, and to overcome, right? So I write it here. So this is a root we have, right? Ter, her, yeah. And then question 2. What is the root for rescue in Sanskrit? And compare, there's a very famous composer or Sanskrit author. His name is Fa-jiu. Yeah. Yeah. So does anyone know the name of Fa-jiu? He's a very famous figure in the Buddhism. Yeah. I think it's not Dhammapada. I think there's also another author called Shi Hu. Yeah. Shi Hu. But we can check the names later in the dictionary. So let's check the name in the Chinese Buddhist dictionary. Wait a minute. Yeah, let's check the names. Yeah, you find the name of Fa here is called Dharma Trata, right? So Fa is called Dharma Trata. And there's another name called Shihu. Yeah. There's another person. Yeah. It's called Shihu. And Shihu, well, I can't find the okay, it's fine. It's not that interesting. It's not that important. So let's concentrate on okay, Dana Para, yeah, Shihu, yeah, that's right, yeah. Okay, so thank you, yeah, thank you. I forgot the. I think it's Dana. Yeah, it's Dana Para, right? Shihu. Yeah, but we concentrate on Fajiu or rescue. So actually, there's a word, there's a root in Sanskrit. It's called tra, right? So what could be the relationship between this root today and tra? So if we have a long vowel here, it means that there must be a laryngeal, right? We have a long A here. So this root, if you check the dictionary, it is reconstructed as this one. This is a reconstruction of this root, yeah, called today. But based on the semantic similarities or affinities between rescue and go over, overcome, so you deliver something from that and you bring something over, and then it means that you rescue. And this is a very comprehensive, this is a very understandable semantic change, right? And we have it in this root, para, and from this, the word para, protector, comes from the root bring over, bring out of, deliver. It's just like this go over, you bring something over something, overcome. Overcome means that you go over something, right? And then this two root, so I put it here. So this root is actually very likely this. So I put these two things together. Check it. What is the difference? So this root is very likely also H2. And we have these two variants. First has a re, second has an air. And this phenomena, we call it as, no, it's not a metathesis. Of course, you can call it kind of a metathesis, but there's a very special name. It's called Schwebeablaut. This is the terminology we're going to talk about today. It's very important. It's called Schwebeablaut. Ablaut, we know that it means that you change the vowel of the root. But Schwebe, probably some of you wonder what is the name of Schwebe. So Schwebe comes is the German word. It's called float or glide. So it's kind of interchangeable. This re or air, it is interchangeable. And then let's introduce another terminology. So we all know there's a full grade, but actually full grade has two kinds. foregrade 1 and foregrade 2. So actually we have two kinds of foregrade. Foregrade 2. First, foregrade 1 is, we take an example of this root, or of this consonant, sorry. So if we consider this R as the zero grade, and we talked about earlier that you can get a foregrade, right? You can get a foregrade from this consonant, and you just put a R, sorry, you just put an air before it, right? But you just put a air, you just, how to say that? You just add air to this consonant, right? But actually there are two ways to add an air, right? You can, of course, write it like this, but you can also write the air after this air. And they are all called foregrade. But this one is called foregrade 1, and this one is called foregrade 2. So this relationship between these two variants, two roots, is just like this one. So this one is the foregrade 1, and this one is the foregrade 2. Okay, is it clear? So should I put it in Chinese and explain a little bit? 就是我们刚才先讨论了这个词，这个词原来的意思表示战胜或者是越过一个东西，你在一个上面过去，就在一个东西上面过去，对吧？越过，就是从越过这个词，它可以引申出一个战胜的意思，对吧？那在梵语当中还有一个词叫救 rescue， 它的形式叫 tada， 比如说法救的名字，对吧？然后呢，我之前先举了一个例子告诉大家，其实啊，保护这个意思，它其实和把一个东西带出来，就是你把一个东西带离一个苦海也好，这不一定是苦海，这是太佛教了，就是你把一个东西带离一个地方 ，bring over something, right? So protect and bring over is kind of closely related. And then these two. 就是如果你在梵语当中看到一个长音 r， 那一般的话，我们认为很有可能它是一个原始印欧语的喉音在那里。那如果我们把这个可以啊，你也可以这么认为，就是带离它，远离那个痛苦也好，远离厄运也好，或者远离 negative， to bring something, to deliver someone from something negative, right? OK。然后呢，我们把这两个词比较一下。看的话，其实的话，这两个词关系非常密切。然后呢，我们把它比较一下，一个是 rare， 一个是 air。那这个其实是一种印欧语的变音现象，元音变换。那它是一种特殊的元音变换，我们叫 Schwebeablaut。Schwebe 相当于漂浮的意思，相当于漂浮不定啊，大概有这种意思在那里，就是两种状态中间切换，大概是这种意思。Schwebeablaut。那 Schwebeablaut 事实上就是出现 r 这种 resonant 的时候 ，so Schwebeablaut is actually especially for roots containing r. So Schwebeablaut is especially for roots containing r, and r is called resonance. What kind of resonance do we have? I put it here. Yeah. This is actually the resonance, yeah. So if I write it like this, and you would know, so let's write some example. What, like this one, this is zero grade, right? So tell me the foregrade 1 of what? Can you write it? The foregrade 1 of what should it look like? Okay, correct, yeah. Correct, yeah. Correct, yeah. And then the foregrade 2 is like this, yeah, right, okay. So I hope it's clear that this kind of different forms, we call this Schwebeablaut. Okay. 哦，那个是today 是那个梵语字典，是那个 Sanskrit Grammar. Yeah. For this root, you always find this form in Sanskrit grammar, but Sanskrit grammar is kind of Indian tradition. It's an Indian tradition. It has nothing to do with it has well, it is related to the linguistic background, but it's just an Indian tradition. And for these forms, if you write it like this, sorry. And this is if you find this symbol, in Sanskrit, means there's a laryngeal. This is quite typical. Yeah. So if you find this one in Sanskrit grammar or Sanskrit dictionary, or if you find this one in Sanskrit dictionary, it always means that there's a laryngeal after it. I can actually give other examples, but it's not quite related to the lectures here. You can also check this root. This is the form. This is the form in Sanskrit grammar or Sanskrit diction. Indian Sanskrit tradition. Yeah. Okay, but this is how to say that. It is. Well, I can explain it later, but today it's not really relevant. Yeah, it's just a different writing in the Sanskrit grammar. It's nothing to do with compensatory notes. This is probably yeah, it's kind of compensatory lengthening. Yeah, because this root is actually abstracted from. I can write it like this. So this is so this is a full grade, right? Full grade. If we want to build a PPP, right, we need to use a 0 grade, and the 0 grade should look like this. So this is a 0 grade, and then you put a tall right after it, and then you check it. This is a R and plus a laryngeal, and this R will become wait a minute. So this R, as I explained earlier, will become a vowel, right? And this R plus laryngeal, it will be lengthened. So this is the reason why we have tr here. Yeah, this is the reason why you have tr here. Yeah, this is just the reason. And for this today, and also for guy, it's another reason, because this kind of root can have an e extension. So this root has an e extension. Yeah. This is just another root, just like the u extension in some words like jivati. That's just a kind of some extension for building new roots. Okay, it's just the same thing, but with in different context. This tr with long, with how to say that, this macron, this 就是长音, this long is due to a compensatory lengthening in specific context. And this today is an e extension also attested in some forms. Yeah, but basically they are the same root, today. Yeah, and they go back to a root containing laryngeal. Yeah, H2. Yeah. Okay, so this is for the introduction of Schwebeablaut. Before we move on, I will give you another example for Schwebeablaut. So example for Schwebeablaut. Okay, so can anyone tell me the meaning of High German wachsen? Yeah, great. And if I tell you this root is connected with Sanskrit ojas. Sanskrit ojas means vigor, or you can check it, ojas. Means strength, bodily strength, vigor, energy, right? So yeah, or vitality, energy. Yeah, it's. And I tell you that it is connected with Sanskrit ojas. And can you tell me cognate with which Latin king's name? Or emperor? Wow, it's not really a king, but emperor. Roman, sorry, Roman. So his name is in Latin, but it's a Roman emperor's name, this ojas. If you're not sure, we can analyze one by one. So Sanskrit is called ojas, ojas, right? And this us is kind of, this is etched down. And Sanskrit or comes from Indo-European. There are several possibilities, right? But one of it comes from all, right? There's one possibility. Okay. And ja, Sanskrit ja is a palata, palata sound, right? And this palata sound goes back to a g, right? So if you palate g, yes, that's great. Augustus. Yeah. So Sanskrit ojas is actually connected with Augustus, and Augustus actually goes back to a verb called augeo, and augeo, if we check it in the Latin dictionary, move it. So augeo actually means wachsen. Yeah, okay. So German wachsen, let's put it here. This new High German wachsen is connected with Latin augeo. It looks so different, right? Why? If we want to know this, probably we can check the dictionary. So in the dictionary, you have a form, you have a root called so this is a root for ojas. So Sanskrit ojas, Sanskrit ojas comes from PIE H2 egg, right? And this egg, you check it. This is laryngeal 2, so it will make this A into a R. Influenced this, yeah, I think you all know that. I assume if you check my videos, if you have already seen the previous videos, you already know that the second laryngeal will change the A into R. So this is basically clear. And then you can find it in Latin, this root called augeo, and also oxy and auxiliary. You also have auxiliary, right? And you also have augment. Yeah, these all go back to the same root called aug. And this aug is also preserved in Sanskrit and also in Avestan. It's called ojas, or in Latin name, Augustus, right? And then let's check the root for wachsen, right? Wachsen goes back to this root called, so this is the root, check it. I highlighted. And then there's another root called H2 wax. So here's something interesting. You see that this is a g and this is a k, and you will say that, well, it's so different. How can these two belong together? The reason is that already in Proto-Indo-European, g plus a s this g will be, how do you say that? This g is voiced, and then it will be influenced by the s and turns into a ks. So this is already Proto-Indo-European. We have this sound change. G, gs to x. Yeah. And then let's check it. This is where, right? And what we have earlier, I'll put it here. So if I write this, I write the g here, and I restore this s here. So you check it. This is actually word. So again, we have here another Schwebeablaut. So again, this is Schwebeablaut. Okay. Okay, I hope you are now familiar with this terminology. This is a very important terminology, and this can explain a lot of interesting phenomena. But this is not accepted by all. Some Indo-European linguists are skeptical about this phenomena. And for this phenomena, actually, you can check a book by so you can check a book. This one, Remo Antira, he has written a book, especially on this phenomena. It's called Proto-Indo-European Schwebeablaut. If you are interested, you can check this book. Okay. So now let's move on to the second part. Let's talk about the talk about the Sanskrit perfect. So this is the forms, the paradigms you find in Stenzler. And what we are going to talk about, what we are going to talk about is not all the forms. I just move it here. I'm not going to talk about all the forms of the perfect, since a lot of you have already, wait a minute. Yeah. So let's probably check first this one. So this is, so we check this root. It's called gum, means go, right? Or it means go or come. It actually has two meanings, go or come. Yeah. And we concentrate on this form. The first person, let's check the first person singular active. So it's called perfect. we're talking about perfect today. So perfect, right? So first person singular active, the form is called jagama or jagama, right? And the third person singular active is called jagama, right? Okay. Now let's think about it. It's always true that in Sanskrit you would find only a single form. I mean, originally, correct. A single form for a single. It means that if you specify the person, I, you, he, or she, or it, and the number, singular, dual, and plural, you always have a single form, right? You have your experience earlier, like in present, right? But why in Sanskrit perfect we have two forms? So let's probably have question 3. So let's move on. So question 3. If we mark this as 1 and this as 2, so can you tell me which one is more correct or historically more correct? Jagama or the second one, Jagama, which one is historically more correct? Okay. Okay, great. It's great to see different answers. Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay. There are actually a lot of people choose this one, right? A lot of people choose this one, and only the first one choose the first choice. Okay, and I have to say sorry for most of you, and congratulate to the first person. So this is actually okay. So this is actually the correct form. Yeah. So this is actually the correct form. Okay, and why? We will explain it later, and we can continue. Check another root, right? So the root called car, do, right? And for the first person singular active, you also have two forms, right? First one is chakara, second one is chakara, right? And I am pretty sure that you all know that this one is more correct, right? This one is more correct. Okay. And why? We are going to explain this. Because the perfect, if we want to explain this phenomena, we need to know how can we build perfect. There are actually two steps. Step one, get, how to say that? Step one, build the perfect stem. Step two, put the perfect personal endings to stem. Okay, there are actually two steps. So first step, let's check the grammar in the dictionary. Wait a minute. So if we check the, how to say that, the first part of the leaf, you will find the building, how to build perfect. Perfect is actually reduplicated perfect, right? We all know that it is reduplicated, right? And this is a reason. So if we have a root like this one, so for example, we have a root like this. Wait a minute. So this is the root. The root will look like this. And how can we build the perfect stem? It requires a reduplication, right? So we need the first consonant. So probably I need consonant 2, consonant, yeah. So we need the first consonant to build the reduplication, and then we need the root. We need the root. And then we need to change the vowel, a vowel to an o vowel. So this is a stem. If you find this 1 and 2 a little bit confusing, I can delete it. But you need to keep in mind that the reduplication consonant comes from the first consonant, right? Okay, so this is a stem, but this is for the strong form. And for the weak form, we need, again, the reduplication. It's actually the same, but we use the weak grade or 0 grade. So this is for weak form. Okay, and then what is the personal ending to? And then we have the stem, right? So this is the stem. And now the second step, the strong form. I hope you all know that this is singular active, right? And weak form others. Yeah. Okay. So we need to get the personal ending to the stem. The personal ending is a little bit tricky. So let's check. Now we need the information of Greek. So in Greek, if we check Greek, there's a word called dedeka. How to say that? I make it a little bit bigger, so you see that. So first we check the Greek example. So Greek word, there's a Greek word called dedorka, and this dedorka contains 2 parts. This is actually I have seen, yeah, right? And there's another form called dedorke. Dedorke means he has seen, right? Yeah, he has seen, right? Okay. Okay, and then so we know that for the first person I, the ending is alpha. For the third person, the ending is a. But if we check the Sanskrit, let's check the Sanskrit grammar. Wait a minute. Where's the Sanskrit grammar? Sorry, Sanskrit grammar is here. So if we check the Sanskrit grammar, it's a little bit weird, right? You find it, it is always written as R, but in Sanskrit, I and I equal to he, right? Or ta in Chinese. Or it, yeah, it is better, yeah, because I don't want to use he or she specifically. It is better, yeah. Okay, and they are all, they are both, both are, right? How can we explain this one? It's really tricky, right? In Sanskrit, they are the same, but in Greek, it is different, right? In Greek, it's different. Therefore, and actually, so what happened? What happened in Sanskrit is that in Sanskrit, Proto-Indo-European R and R turns into a R. So this is a sound change. So in Sanskrit, Proto-Indo-European, so Proto-Indo-European R and A, the O turns into a R. And in Proto-Indo-European, we all know that A is quite seldom. In PIE, R is really seldom. Yeah, sorry, I write German. Yeah. So R is really rare. Sorry, R is really rare, and we know that R could come from a laryngeal 2 and plus air, right? So this is a sound change. So P-I-E-R can come from a laryngeal 2 plus air, as we have seen earlier, right? We have seen here, right? Laryngeal 2, originally it is air, but it can change this air into R, right? Okay, so this is the, okay, and then we know that for the ending, so let's make a conclusion. For the perfect ending, I is actually H20, this one, right? And it is actually air. Sorry. This is actually the answer. And then let's explain why the form imperfect, why the first one is more correct. Let's check this chakara, or let's check the ja, ga, right? Let's check the gum, right? So I don't use Proto-Indo-European form, and we just take the root as gum or gem. Yeah. So in order to build this root, we need a reduplication, right? And the reduplication is ge, right? And then we need a o vowel, right? Yeah. So remember this formula. Remember this formula. So remember this formula. So this is so the first consonant is a g, second consonant is a m, right? So in order to build I have gone, we need reduplication, right? It's a ge. And then we need an o vowel, right, in between, right? And then we need to put a ending, right? So this is a personal ending, right? Personal ending is this one. So air, as I have seen, as I said, air is a palatal sound. Here are some notes. Air is palatal vowel. So it will change a g into a j. So then we have a j, right? And then take this one. So after palatalization, the air will become R. So this is in Sanskrit. So ge will become a ja. And then g remains g, right? Because o is no palatal vowel. So we have the o here. We have an o here, right? And then we have also this sound, right? The sound, right? And take a look. In Sanskrit, we have a Brookman's law, right? Brookman's law tells us all turns into long. So let's recall Brookman's law. Brookman's law tells us P-I-E or goes into a long A in open syllable, right? Open syllable. Right. I hope you understand. I hope you know what is open syllable. So now you check it. There are two consonants here, and he. So if we make a stop here, so so is not an open syllable. So it will not become R, but a short A. This is the reason. And then this R, this will change it into R sound, and the laryngeal disappears. So then we have this jagama, So this is I have gone. And then it has gone. Let's check it. So again, we have this sound, but here you only have this air, right? Because of Greek, because Greek has only air, right? And then for this one, again, you have the palatalization. This is gia, becomes ja. And then take it. This is gourmet, and you have to make a stop here. So this go is an open syllable. So it must become a ga, and me becomes a ma, because ma cannot be palatalized. It's not Tocharian. In Tocharian you can palatalize, but in Sanskrit it's not working. Yeah. So you have this jagama here. So this is the reason why for first person you only have short r here, ga. But for third person you have a ga here. So this is the reason why. I already used 1 hour, but the perfect it's not finished. I'm not sure if we can really check the Russian translation today. Yeah. Do you want to continue perfect, or you want to check the Russian translation? Let's make a choice. Yeah. Russian. So let's make a choice. Yeah. You want to continue perfect? Okay. Yeah. I will continue explaining perfect. So let's turn back to the perfect. You see, this is perfect. It's reduplicated perfect, right? Okay. So this is the perfect, and I have the second one is just borrowed from the third person singular. It's mixed, so they will not make a. So they will how to say that? It's kind of mistake. Yeah, it's just borrowed, not really borrowed, but kind of mixed. Yeah. So historically, this one is more correct, but later on it's not that easy. It's not that easy to attribute to the meter, yeah. But it's kind of mixed. So, so how to put it? Yeah, it's only a analogy. It's kind of analogy. Right? Can call this. Yeah. Okay. So now let's continue perfect. So according to the no, it's not happened in perfect. Yeah, we can check it. Yeah. So this happened. This mixture happened in classical Sanskrit, but not in Vedic. So that's the reason why we need to study Vedic, because Vedic is more correct. So let's check the Vedic material. For the Vedic, let's check the Rig Veda. Probably we can use this one. Okay, use this one, car, right? So we have this car here. Let's check the perfect, right? So it's called chakar. Yeah. Okay. So let's check the Vedic dictionary. You see, chakara is always first person singular. This chakara, check it. So this is the information we need. So this chakara, short a, is always first person singular. And this chakara is always third person singular. So in Vedic Sanskrit, there's no such mistake, only in classical Sanskrit. Okay, is it clear? Okay. Right? So this is the reason why we have to study Vedic. Okay. Okay, let's move on. So based on the Sanskrit material, so this is Sanskrit, and also based on the Greek material. So I put the Greek here. Yeah. So based on these two systems, we can reconstruct the perfect Indo-European, PRE perfect as PRE perfect as this. Yeah, this is what we can reconstruct, right? And you also find it in the. You also check it. You also find it in the dictionary, right? So you find it here. It's a little bit complicated, but you can, you know that. So it looks pretty beautiful. It looks pretty neat, pretty clean, right? And this is also, so you think that it's all finished. Yeah, perfect is really simple. You just need the stem, and then you just put the personal ending after it. So it's pretty simple. It's pretty clear, right? This is also the impression of linguists. This is also the impression of linguists before discovery of Hittite and Tocharian. After the Hittite text and Tocharian text had been discovered, and this picture is destroyed. Why? Because let's check the Hittite material. So for the Hittite, as I have already mentioned, we can use this book. It's called, it's called Nisiri, Manuel de la langue Hittite. Okay, so this is a second volume. It's about the verbal system of the Hittite language. Okay, let's check the Hittite verbal system. There are only two moods in Chinese. It's 语气, so like subjunctive, optative. But in Hittite, we only have two. First one is indicative. Second one is imperative. There's no subjunctive, no optative. Okay, and then let's check the tense system. So tense. So in Hittite, we only have two tenses. First one is present. Second one is preterite. And preterite you can like connect it with aorist. It's is similar, right? So actually, in Hittite, there's no perfect. I think I should highlight it. There's no perfect. There's no perfect. And this perfect is actually, we should consider if perfect is really Proto-Indo-European. We can actually reconstruct the perfect according to like Sanskrit, Greek, and also Avestan. So it's actually basically a model based on the Greco-Aryan or the Greek and Indo-Aryan forms, right? But if we check the Hittite, it's really weird. There's no perfect. And there's also very special category in Hittite. There's a special category, there's a special flexion. Hittite. One special flexion or inflection. called hi-conjugation. Yeah, it's called hi-conjugation. What's the meaning of hi-conjugation? So it means that probably we can probably check a grammar so that you get a wait a minute, I show you the forms, and then you have an idea of the hi-conjugation. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, here. So this is another very important and useful textbook used in Germany. It's called Hittitisches Elementarbuch by Johannes Friedrich. This person, you really have to keep in mind. He is one of the most important figures in the Hittite studies, and he has edited so many texts and has written a lot of important papers and also text editions, and also this famous textbook for Hittite. So for this, for inside this book, let's check the verbal. Wait a minute. Yeah. So it means that in Hittite, there is also active and medium, middle and passive. But inside active, there are still two kinds of flexions or conjugation. The first one is called me conjugation. This me conjugation, you also find it in Sanskrit, right? You also a lot of me, right? And also in Greek. Okay, so this is kind of widely tested. So in Hittite, me conjugation. This is similar or connected with Sanskrit me verb, right? Also Greek me verb, you also have in Greek, right? I don't need to give an example like dadami, didomi, or dadati, tishtati, or histemi, and so on. There are a lot of such examples. But he conjugation only in I think probably, yeah, only in Anatolian, right? Anatolian. Yeah. Okay. And are these two things connected? So do you think that these two things are connected? He conjugation only in Anatolian. And Hittite, there's no perfect. And remember, there's a very important piece of information. He comes from which laryngeal? Can you tell me? The Hittite H comes from which laryngeal? Okay, that's great. Yeah, real H2. This is what I expected. Of course, there are other answers. Yeah. In this context, it is actually laryngeal 2. So this, and this is he in the first person singular, right? So may I write it more clearly? So in Sanskrit, Greek, perfect, first I has ending he, H2 A, right? And in Hittite, he conjugation I is he, right? And this he, and you all know that as I have already explained, it comes to H2, right? Okay. So this means something, right? The hi-conjugation only in Anatolian, in Hittite, and in Hittite there's no perfect. But in Hittite there's a he, and this he, the personal ending is H2 plus a E, right? And this is the same, quite similar to the Sanskrit perfect, right? Okay, and so this is one piece of information, and then we're going to move on to another piece of information. So if we check the grammar in Goto, so for the personal endings, this is the chart of the personal ending in the book by Goto 2013, and you have a form like this. This is mi, si, ti, vas, tas. Okay, it's fine, right? And perfect is called a, sa, a, and va, atu, right? But if we move to the middle forms, I'm not sure if some of you have already noticed, if you read a lot of Sanskrit text, you certainly can memorize something, right? So let's check the middle forms. Primary middle form, e, se, te, or vahe, ate, and so on. Mahe, dre, ente, right? And then check the perfect form, e, se, vahe, ate, and mahe, dre. So probably I can highlight it. So this is the information in Sanskrit. You find, so do you think it's too similar, right? The perfect middle, se, is too similar to the present middle, right? Like se, te, but here's te, but in stative, there's another form e. So this se, te, se, and then the duo is probably not so convincing, but probably let's check plural, mache, dreve, und stative, re and re, right? So after the discovery of Hittite, the people actually think about the origin of perfect and the relationship between perfect and middle. So this is actually the hi-conjugation, the middle, and the perfect. So these three things can actually go back to a same thing. And especially, there's also another, so if we want to know the historical explanation of this phenomena, you can check the explanation in the book, Nisidi. And I can just explain briefly. So I know it's a little bit complicated for you now. I just tell you the result of the Indo-European linguistics now. So there are actually several speculations, and I'm going to talk about the one adopted in mainland Europe. Okay, probably including also Great Britain, but mainly in Europe. And it is represented by these several people, and they are all but they are actually the most important figures in the Indo-European linguistics: Kuliowicz, Eichner, Risch, and Oettinger. Okay, so the result is there's actually no real perfect in Hittite, but according to this theory, wait a minute, I put it here. So according to this theory, PIE perfect is indeed preserved. Sorry, is preserved in Hittite, but in the form of hi-conjugation. There are actually two evidence for this theory. The first evidence, so two strong evidences for this theory. First evidence, the ending, right? The first person singular active ending is H2 is this one, yeah. And the Hittite form, it's like the he, right? So this he is probably this one plus a e at the end, but sometimes we also have a he. So for the he forms, let's check it. So actually, in Hittite, I can highlight the forms here. So this is a word, this is a root you all know, the root for give. But take a look, this is really interesting. The root da means take in Hittite, not give. So this is also something very interesting. So PIE means in Sanskrit means give, right? But in Hittite it means take. So how can we understand this? Give and take. So this is again a reciprocal, and take for give myself something. You can understand. Give myself something. Give yourself something means that I take something, right? So this is actually the semantic development of give and take. So it's just it's a reciprocal, just like here and answer, say and answer, and give and take, go and come. So it's just the same. And then you can check it. Actually, the he conjugation sometimes can be written as he. So he. Yeah. So it's So this is first piece of evidence. The first singular active ending in perfect is he. In Hittite, it's he. And the second one is even probably more convincing, the Ablaut. So we know that imperfect Ablaut is all plus 0, right? So in perfect, as you have already seen, we move back. Wait a minute. So in perfect, the Ablaut is all great for strong form, and weak grade is 0, right? So the Ablaut is all and 0, right? So in perfect, the Ablaut is all and 0, and he conjugation exactly so. Yeah. So he conjugation is the same, all and all and all and 0. So this is actually two pieces of evidence for this phenomena. But there's also anti-evidence. How to say gegen-evidence or Gegenbeispiel or anti-evidence? I don't know. I don't know the correct English. Yeah. So anti-evidence is that imperfect, or the difference. Should I put a difference here? So the difference is that perfect always with duplication. reduplication. But hi-conjugation, without reduplication. So this is basically the big difference between these two. And there's also some other difference, like semantically they are different, because the perfect has kind of a state, a resultive meaning, but hi-conjugation must not have it. But middle has the meaning of state. So middle and perfect is probably also very related. So this is basically the strong evidence. But I'm not going to talk about more, because if we want to know more, there are also a lot of other things to talk about. So let's just mention some examples, like in Germanic. So probably you all know that. So let's give a question. Yeah. So can anyone tell me the perfect of gain, German? So the question 4, right? So gain. So this is New High German. New High German. So the perfect of gain. What is the perfect of gain? Gegangen sein. Yeah. Okay. Correct. 你们其他人没有睡觉吧？你们其他人没有睡着吧？或者会不会觉得太无聊了，或者是太有点复杂，就是不太好理解，是吧？没有吗？哦，没有睡觉就好了。OK， 好 ，OK， 只是不会说德语。OK， 手速跟不上。OK， 好，行，那我们继续讲吧。好，so like gain, and we know that it's gegangen, right? So it's gegangen. So it's gegangen, and then do you think that? So here we have a g. It's also a g. So now I make a statement, and then you can tell me it is true or false. So based on this, based on gain, so based on gain and gain, so based on gain and gegangen, this is so this is a reduplicated perfect. First true, second false. Yeah. So what is the choice? This is a reduplicated. OK， 你们好像非常小心啊。OK， I'm a bit doubtful. OK， yeah. OK. Yes, it is false. It is wrong. Yeah. Why? Because let's check other verbs. Yeah. What is ziehen, right? So what is perfect of ziehen? It's gezogen, right? Gezogen. Yeah. And what's this? What is, how do you say that? Halten. Yeah, it's gehalten, right? Yeah. So how can we build? So how can we build the perfect in Germanic? So it is actually a quite different formation. It's actually, in fact, it is the gezogen or gehalten. This is actually a preterite participle. Yeah, a participle. It's actually present participle plus Hilfsverb, 助动词 Hilfsverb, auxiliary verb. Okay, auxiliary. Okay, sorry, my German, my English is sometimes a little bit broken. Yeah, I only know the German word. Hilfswerk. Yeah, Hilfswerk. Yeah. So this is actually the perfect in Germanic languages. So originally, we actually have a preterite participle, and it is not perfect. And there are actually some reduplicated perfect in Germanic. Let's check it. Wait a minute. So, and this is also, I think, wait a minute. So let's check some words. There's a root called deuk. And deuk you probably all, you all know, right? So let's check it. So deuk means ziehen, or you have in Latin, like in duco, ducere. It's, yeah, I think it's pretty like introduction. Yeah, the word introduction contains duk. So this is you just lead, you bring something into something, right? So you bring someone into a difficult thing. So it means that introduction, you bring, yeah. So it's actually seen, you draw, you pull someone, right? And this word is attested like in Iranian, this is Ossetic, in Italic, and it is Middle Welsh. It's in Celtic, right? And then in Gothic, Germanic, and also in Tocharian, and also in Albanian. So it's pretty well attested word, right? And then for this root, we cannot reconstruct perfect. So there's only present, and there's also aorist and causative, right? And perfect, we can only attest it in these two languages, and it is Neubildung. So it is actually newly built. And then let's check the newly built perfect. Gothic, it's called. So let's check this root. So P-I-E, deuk. The perfect in Gothic, you have tauch, right? And also in Middle Welsh, it's called duk, right? And check it, no reduplication. There's no reduplication in Celtic and also in Gothic. There's no reduplication. And if you and then you check the explanation, so the Celtic form and also yes, the Celtic form and also the Germanic form, and you can understand it as the loss of reduplication. So reduplication can be lost. Yeah. So this is actually the evidence from the Celtic and the Germanic languages that reduplication is not that necessary. Yeah. So actually this anti-evidence is not that strong because we have in other languages the loss of reduplication. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this is basically for today. I have explained so much about the Indo-European linguistics, and I feel sorry that I haven't read any text today. Okay, so before we stop this meeting, I give a very brief summary of what we have done today. So today we talk basically about grammar, and we introduced a new terminology. It's called Schwebeablaut. And for this one, I first introduced a Sanskrit root called pāray. And this pāray comes from pāray with because in Sanskrit we have a secondary L instead of the historically more correct Okay, and this word originally means bring over, bring someone out of something. And then comes the meaning rescue, save, protect, right? And for this semantic development, we actually have哦，不好意思，今天都没有休息，对吧？哦，不好意思，我就直接这么讲过去了。OK， 好吧，那我快点结束，你们也可以快点休息。OK. So based on this, we can connect the Luwian god's name called Tarhuns or Tarhunta from the root ter means to go over, to bring over, also conquer, overcome, right? With a Sanskrit root called tada, and tada means actually rescue. And this long A means that we have a laryngeal at the end. Okay, and then these two forms is an example of Schwebeablaut. So Schwebeablaut is used to describe roots containing R. Well, Schwebeablaut does not happen does not always happen. It only occurs in certain verbs. But why only in certain verbs is not clear. But it is not a phenomena attested for every word containing but only for some roots containing resonance. So here is actually an example, right? Sanskrit root rescue today, and another root is also actually attested in Sanskrit, right? So in Sanskrit, it's called tar, and it is set root, so it's tari, right? So it's tar, right? Okay. Yes, and so Schwebeablaut means that we have wait a minute. So Schwebeablaut means that roots containing R, and I have shown you. Oh, 要我停一下吗? Should I stop? Oh, okay. Okay, so and then I explain this. So Schwebeablaut applies to roots containing a resonance. A resonance is is written like a not written like a, so it's represented by a and the is called full grade 1, and plus a is called full grade 2. So Schwebeablaut is actually a interchange between full grade 1 and full grade 2. So it means that a root can have actually two full grades. Okay, so this is logic, and this is actually understandable. Like if I show you a root called cook, and how can you know that's the full grade? You can put a here, and you can also put a here. So it's just the same. We have actually two different full grades. Okay, so this is probably why we have the Schwebeablaut. Okay, and then I used another example for explaining Schwebeablaut. Actually, two words: the German word wachsen, and the Sanskrit word ojas. And Sanskrit ojas is actually related, cognate with a Roman emperor's name called Augustus. And Augustus comes from the root augeo, and augeo means exactly wachsen or grow, right? It actually means grow, yeah. And how can we explain this? Sanskrit ojas comes from laryngeal 2 plus an e, so it's aug, ojas. So all turns into o in Sanskrit, and this g is actually palatalized. So this original form is helg, right? Helg, and this wachsen comes from wax, and this gs already becomes a ks in Sanskrit. And actually pay attention, there's probably another, okay, I can forget it, we can forget it. There's actually another detail, actually the motivation of Schwebeablaut here. Just like in Sanskrit, you have dash, right? Dash, but the aorist of dash is called sheet, probably. I have to check it. Probably this one is not really correct. So actually you can see the original form is harsh, right? But in the aorist, it's called dadaksh, right? So it is actually probably influenced by the keshi, yeah, and then it will change the root structure to dadaksh, yeah. Okay, so this is probably a reason for Schwebeablaut in here, because you put an S after this root, and then it will influence the root structure. After Akshit, okay, I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Okay, after Akshit. Okay, and then we talk about perfect. So we use two examples. The first example is go, come. Actually, in classical Sanskrit, so this is the case in classical Sanskrit. In classical Sanskrit, we have two variants for first person singular active, jakama or jakama. But historically, this one is more correct because we explained, so in order to build a perfect, you need a stem. So step one, you need a stem. So the perfect stem, you get it like this. Reduplication plus a O grade, right? And then we need a personal ending to the stem. So the personal ending, we need to get the information from Greek. So Greek, I have seen is called dedorka, and he has seen, or it has seen, sorry, it has seen called dedorke. So they are different, R and A, but in Sanskrit, I and it becomes the same because there's a sound change. Sanskrit cannot distinguish R and A. Okay, so based on the Greek material, we know the R goes back to a laryngeal 2, E, so he, right? And then if we put the laryngeal 2 E here, so original form is called gegom he, ge becomes a ja, palatas, right? And then we use a Brookman law. Brookman's law tells us, or in open syllable becomes a long A, but here you see it's not a long, it's not a open syllable, it's closed syllable. It's closed, right? So it will not turn into a R, but only a short R. So it's jakama, right? But the third person singular, the ending, take a look. The third person singular, the ending is e, right? So then we have gegome. So according to Brookman's law, this is open syllable, so we have jakama. Okay, so this is the case. But pay attention, as I have shown you, so this kind of a mixture only occurs in classical Sanskrit. In Vedic Sanskrit, it's kept distinct. So chakara is first person singular. Chakara is always third person singular. So there's no such mixture, okay? And then we talk about something really complicated. So we talk about the origin of the Indo-European perfect. So in Hittite, so we talk about Hittite. So in Hittite, there's actually no perfect, but there's a special inflection called hi-conjugation in Hittite. And Hittite have actually two conjugations, as we have seen here. So in Hittite, we have two conjugations. We have active and middle passive. And under each categories, we have two inflections. First is me conjugation, which is also attested in Sanskrit me and Greek me. But Hittite has another he conjugation. So if we connect this he conjugation, compare the he conjugation with the perfect, and that's actually a very good match. Actually, so we have a theory that PIE perfect is actually preserved in Hittite, but in the form of he conjugation. We have two pieces of evidences. First, the ending. The first person singular active ending are the same, he and her, right? And we also checked the forms. Actually, in Hittite verbs, da, which means take, can have he and also he. Ahe and ahi, right? Okay, and then the second evidence is ablaut. So in perfect, we have ablaut all and zero, and the he conjugation is same, all and zero. And there's also gegen evidence, anti-evidence, that in perfect we have a reduplication, but in he conjugation we have no reduplication. And then we move on to the Germanic evidence that actually for this root, deuk, the perfect in Gothic and in Welsh, they don't have reduplication. So reduplicated syllable can be lost. Okay, so this is not really an anti-example, okay, anti-evidence. Okay, so this is everything for today, and thank you for having, okay, thank you for your patience until now, and I made no stop, so sorry for that. Next time, probably we can make a stop. I just I just forgot that. Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah. Okay. So I will upload our video to the internet. So if you're interested, you can you can check the videos. Okay. You're welcome. Yeah. So have a good weekend and enjoy the rest of the day. Okay, see you next time. So see you. So some of you might come to the Tokaran class on Monday, or if not, probably Tuesday. Yeah. Okay, so so see you later. Yeah. Bye bye.